this week, there we go. All right, welcome to the call, everybody. So this week we're going to discuss a few different things. We're going to discuss building your business, and these are based on points from a lot of these superstars I've met over the years that have shared their blueprints to success. The interesting thing about all of their blueprints, you start to see a wonderful level of similarity between all the top producers in the real estate industry. And these are people doing 100 deals a year, 200 deals a year, 400 deals a year. I mean, big teams, big individual producers. There is a wonderful consistency in what it takes to have success in this business. And when you study the people that are having the biggest level of success, and you just ask them what they're doing and track what they're doing, you find that they're all doing different versions of the same thing. Primarily, it's mindset, it's prospecting, it's following up, it's having a great presentation, it's understanding their scripts, it's doing all these things. But as we really unpack it point by point, we can really deep dive into, are we doing the right things every day? Do we need to do more of them? Do we need to raise the level of quality? Do we need to upgrade what we're doing? So as we continue to go through this, I think our businesses just get better. Pretty simple stuff. So before we get into those points today, let's have Dave Buss share. Actually, I can share my screen, come to think of it, Dave, because I have your PowerPoint here. Or do you want to share your screen? What's better for you?
That'll be easier because the PowerPoint is actually on my desktop. It's not on my laptop. So it would take me a few minutes. If you could share your screen, it'd be better.
I'll share my screen. Okay, let's do this. So for those of you that don't know Dave, he's a real estate agent, but primarily he's a great lender. So he's a real estate agent with our company, but he really has been working for decades at being a wonderful lender. And so he put together a presentation to help us all with a common objection that we get. So let me do this and let me share screen and share.
Perfect. And if you could just scroll down to the second page, because it's only really one page.
All right.
So as I was talking to Mark at the Wednesday meeting last week, we were talking about why I still feel like it's an excellent time to buy. And if we look at the numbers that I've broken down here, I just used a $1.5 million purchase price because that's kind of middle of the road for the area. I guess, and the numbers are worked out to be round enough to make this easier to understand. So if let's just say a year ago, 15 months ago, you wanted to purchase a $1.5 million property in the South Bay. To get that property, not unreasonable to say you would have had to put at least 10% more down. Can we agree on that? I mean, Aaron, that's pretty reasonable, isn't it?
You're saying 10% or more as a down payment?
No, I'm sorry. 10% or more over the list price.
Got it. Sure. The market was crazy. Let's say in the past, before 6 months ago, for 2 years prior to that, the most just absolute mayhem. Everything was going over asking. Sure. 10% over asking.
So if you're putting 20% down in that scenario, you have to put down 20% plus that extra 150K or 100 and so I have here 1.65 now as the purchase price, right? Because we're paying 10% higher.
Okay, so normally it'd be $1.5 million purchase price, but because you have to pay 10% over to get the damn property, you're paying $1.65 million. Got it.
Correct. So now the down payment is going to be your $300,000 that you would have had to pay on the plus an extra 165 because you have to bring that extra to closing. And I want to make sure I explain this to you guys as realtors, because a lot of times I don't think people understand that going in, that you don't automatically just get to bring 80% of the sale price. It's 80% of the valuation, and appraisers 95% of the time bring that valuation in at the list price, not the contract price. That's just the way it's been for the last 22 years since I've been sitting in this chair. So if a year ago, that the rate on a 7-year ARM was probably around 3.25, that principal and interest monthly payment would have been $52.22 a month. You see that on the left side, right?
Yep.
And the monthly property tax is $17.18 a month, which is $150 higher than $1.5 million, because it's based upon 1.25% of the purchase price. So your total is $69.40 a month. That's what you would have paid if you purchased a $1.5 million place for $1.65 million one year ago, let's just say. Okay. Yep. So now we go to the right side today. If your down payment on that is the $300,000 and the rate is substantially higher, as I've factored here on a 5-year arm today, the payment is $63.50, which is a little more than $1,000 more. But the property tax is actually a little bit less expensive because it's assessed on a lower purchase price. And so right now we have, if you made that purchase today, your monthly total would be around $79.12 a month, or $1,000 a month more. But this is what's important, is that the $150,000 difference stays in your client's investment portfolio, wherever it is. I mean, it could be in cash, it could be wherever, but there's an opportunity cost that you lose with that $150,000. And the reality is, if it's $1,000 a month, I mean, that's 12 years of the payment increase. And that's if, that's if you're making no money at all on the $150,000, which we know you're going to make something. And you know that the property is going to have some upside over a 12-year period. If you bought a property today, might it be worth less in a year or 2 or 3? It might be. But 12 years from now, I mean, everything I know about the business would tell me that 12 years from now, the property is going to be worth at least 10% more than it is now.
Absolutely.
So, and Aaron, you're welcome to share this with everybody or send it out. But and if you need these numbers massaged, you want to have your clients call me. But the numbers, I mean, obviously on a $2 million payment, they change, but by percentage, they really don't. I mean, this is what it is. Because I mean, even at $2 million or $2.5 million purchases, I mean, everything was going for 10% over asking a year ago. Whereas right now, everything is, is going pretty much at contract price, or maybe a percent, as I think Ed said last week, maybe 1% lower, which isn't anything to write home about. So, but I mean, the numbers over time, it still makes a terrific amount of sense to buy real estate in the South Bay, especially if you can afford this higher payment.
Yeah. So this is something that it's interesting, let me stop the share. So what's interesting to me is that there is certainly a lot of press about the market, but when you actually look from a appropriate, realistic approach to, does it make sense to buy a home in today's market? The answer is yes. It really is yes. I'm going to share with you something else that a friend of mine sent to me. I'm going to just read it to you because I'm not going to figure out how to share it on my screen from my phone and all that stuff. But I will just tell you that it says housing market forecast for the rest of 2022, okay, and beyond. It says home price appreciation will continue. This is something that's actually indicating that, yes, the prices are down right now. But when you look at nationally, home prices are projected to rise moderately more than people think. They're not expected to fall. So when you look at some of the big economists, the big corporations that are studying this, Fannie Mae says there's going to be a 16% rise. Freddie Mac says there's going to be a 12.8% rise. National Association of Realtors says there's going to be 11.5% rise. Zelman says there's going to be a 10% rise. CoreLogic says there's going to be a 9.6% rise. HPES says there's going to be a 9.3% rise. And MBA says there's going to be a 2.7%. These are all large companies and established firms. This is an average of 10.3% in the next 12 months. So,
Aaron, let me stop you there. And I just want to point out, if those numbers are even close to true, and we're looking at a rise of those percentages in the current interest rate market, what happens to values in a year or 2 or 3 when rates get back down into the 3s?
Right.
You're going to see another substantial bounce. You'll have to, because all of a sudden now, the payments become more affordable by $1,000 a month, as you've seen with my presentation there.
100%. I mean, so this is actually a truly an opportune time to buy real estate. In some markets, let's say in the beach cities, maybe the prices haven't changed a lot. In Palos Verdes, they've certainly changed a lot, more than 10% in the past 6 months, maybe closer to 15% in some houses. So there's a situation where your buyer can get a discounted rate on the property, go through Dave's whole projection here, save a bunch of money long-term, and then refi. However, 6 months, 12 months from now, whenever it is,
Right.
I think everyone seems to agree that the rates are coming down. So this actually is a wonderful time to purchase real estate.
Right. That's the other kind of elephant in the room. And for the younger folks that have never bought or owned property, you can refinance your mortgage at any point after 6 months after you get into a purchase. The first 6 months, the lender won't generally let you out of a loan, but 6 months later, if you can get a percentage lower, you can save, $600-700 a month, and you can ride that. You can refinance it over and over. I mean, it costs money to do it, but the savings, if you have the right loan guy, the savings will definitely supersede what you're paying in closing costs to close a loan. So, and again, if any of you guys want to have a sit down, I know an embarrassingly enormous amount about this stuff. I'm kind of a nerd about it, but it's how I make the bulk of my living. So I'm happy to talk to all of you, or you can email me or whatever, because the more I think you guys understand about this process, and the more you understand about the numbers, the more value you can bring to your clients, and the better you're going to do when you start having conversations about people having these objections.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dave, if you wouldn't mind, just drop your information in the chat. So if people want to reach out to you, they can. One way that I heard it said, which is kind of funny and kind of interesting, is that you're marrying the house. You're just dating the mortgage. You're dating the rate, right? You're marrying the house, but the rates change, and it's okay to refi, and that will happen. There will be all kinds of ups and downs, and so it's a wonderful time to lock in what is now a low price. So let's get into the next stage of our call, which is really the blueprint that a lot of these wonderful top producers in the real estate industry utilize to grow a very successful, very duplicatable, very repeatable business in real estate. That would be nice, wouldn't it, guys? Duplicatability, repeatability, right? Are you feeling like real estate can be a little bit of a roller coaster ride? I got a deal, yes. Oh no, it fell out of escrow. I'm depressed. Oh my God, got another deal. Oh, and then it closed, and now I'm out of business again. I got to find another. Like, it's a roller coaster ride, this business. And especially now, there are some challenges in the market. So wouldn't it be great to follow the footsteps of the people that have done this before us at a very high level and simply just mimic what they have done? There are people out there that have already laid out the plan. All we have to do is do what they did. So that's what we're going to discuss on these calls. So the next point that I want to get into is about learning scripts. This is from Sean McCarthy. He said, I learned the scripts and how to use the scripts by going to, in this case, a Mike Ferry event, but these scripts are available online for free. It gave me confidence to get on the phone and talk to people. Learning the scripts. Do you guys use scripts? Guess what? If you don't think you do, you actually do. You use your own script. If you don't use someone else's script that is a proven strategy on how to generate business, you're using a script. It's just your own script. Is it a great script? Is it a workable script? Is it an effective script? Listen, when you meet someone, when you go on a listing appointment, if you don't follow any protocol, no, I just wing it. I like to go in there. I like to be on my toes. I like to be fresh. I like to show up. Guess what? You're using a script. It's a script that happens to work for you. You tend to say the same things every time in every selling situation. If you get referred to a buyer or a seller, you tend to say the same things over and over again. So if you're going to use a script anyway, might as well use a script that works, that's effective, and that's going to get you the desired result. Now, if you need great scripts, then go ahead and go to mikeferry.com. All the scripts are on there. They're all for free. you can certainly go to virtually anywhere. I mean, there's Tom Ferry, there's Brian Buffini, there's so many wonderful coaches out there. They all have scripts. Find a script that resonates with you. I personally have been coached for years by Mike Ferry, so I follow his scripts. And
I have an order for Chelsea.
so I tend to follow Mike Ferry scripts. I like them. They're very direct. They get to the point, but you certainly can use any script out there, but you can even make your own. But I suggest being open to the idea that knowing what to say in any selling situation is going to make you more powerful in that selling situation. Do you tend to get the same objections over and over and over again? Oh, I don't want to pay 6%. I don't want to price it that low. I want to price it higher. I have a friend in the business. Oh, you don't sell homes in my area. Whatever objections you get, I only want to give you a 30-day listing. There's not that many objections. We get the same objections over and over and over again. Wouldn't it make sense to learn the answers? So maybe make a quick note right now on a piece of paper. What comes to mind? What scripts do you feel like you need to learn? What do you feel like you need to get better at? What selling situation do you feel like there's maybe like a loss of power? Gosh, anytime I call past clients, I never really know what to say to them. So therefore, I don't do it. God, I tried calling for sale by owners and I just was fumbling over my words. I didn't know what to say. It's not for me. I go on a listing presentation. They always ask me to cut my commission and I do it because I don't know what to say. What selling situations do you come across on a regular basis? And just jot them down. And then let's find a script for that. And then practice the script. Understand it. If it's an objection handler, learn 2 or 3 or 4 objection handlers to handle that objection. By knowing what to say, it just puts you in an extraordinarily powerful position to have success in any selling situation. Next point from Sean, he's basically in Louisiana, does a couple hundred deals. So these are his points. He says, I've always prospected a lot. It actually became a fun game for me. Wait a second, prospecting, a fun game? Are you kidding me? Prospecting is brutal. I hate prospecting. It can be fun. It can be fun. So, Chad, you prospected yesterday. You tell us what kind of prospecting you did. Tell us how many hours you did it, and tell us how you felt about it. Did you have fun? Did you hate it? Let's hear a little bit.
I did 3 hours of door knocking in Torrance, and I felt like there wasn't a big weight on my shoulder, like in my head. I wasn't thinking about it as if I don't find leads, there's going to be this huge consequence tomorrow. I was like, who cares? Like, I'm going out and talking to people, and I was just kind of flow through it, and it helped me get through it. Like, because I didn't feel like it was a chore. I was just out doing it, so I felt good.
And you're having fun with it. You just made a decision. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to drop all the baggage. I'm going to drop all the story. I'm going to talk to people. And people's response, as you shared, was terrific, right? Because you were showing up differently. You just made a decision. I'm going to have fun with this. Not going to worry about looking good. Not going to worry about being like some masterful professional. I'm going to go talk to people. And you ended up having just terrific conversations, right? Prospecting. Yeah. Prospecting can be fun. Listen, you don't have to go door knocking. Let's say your prospecting is to your past clients and your center of influence. I'm going to just call my past clients the center of influence and participate with these people and love on them and support them and encourage them and be a wonderful resource to them. How fun is that? Just providing value to the people that have helped you support your business over the years. That can be so much fun. So in this point, I've always prospected a lot. It actually became a fun game for me. Prospecting doesn't have to be brutal. Doesn't have to be, oh my God, I got to do this. I hate it. It can actually be fun, right? I always go back to Dave Buss, who has people, he'll throw a party and have 60 people show up in his backyard and barbecue and drink beer and have fun and get business from it every single time he does it. So super cool. Next point. I tell the prospects and customers the truth. I tell them the truth, always, even if it costs me a transaction. Prospects and customers will remember that, and remember they talk, and remember that those people talk to other people. So is it hard telling the truth sometimes? My goodness, if you've got a listing right now in today's market, or 2 or 3 or 5, do we have to be telling the truth to our listing leads, our listing clients? If the property's not selling, what's the likelihood of why it's not selling? The likelihood in most cases. Raise your hand if you think it's price. I mean, is that going to be it like 90-something% of the time? Sure, showing condition's important. Sure, marketing's important. But listen, even if the showing condition is awful, and even if there's no marketing, if it's priced well enough, people will buy it. So when you say, I tell my prospects the truth, the brutal truth, it's not always an easy thing to do. But by doing it, I mean, we can see how there's a much higher likelihood, A, that we're going to have success, and B, that we'll get more referrals because of it. I have 2 very interesting scenarios right now. One is a property in Palos Verdes that is not selling. So I'm talking to the seller about reducing the price. And another one in Torrance, which we just put on the market, and we already have 3 offers and another 1 or 2 coming in this market. What a different scenario. So today I'll call my seller in Palos Verdes. Hey, I want to tell you what's going on in Torrance and why. And really go back to, you know, I sound like a brokered record to them, but price is the issue. And it's my duty, right? I have a fiduciary responsibility to these clients to be brutally honest with them. And I know they're not going to like it. They've already told me they don't like it. We reduced the price once and they said, this is the last one. I wanted it to be the last one too, but I must be brutally honest. If I'm going to do my job at the highest level for you, we need to reduce again. I'd rather you be a little upset with me right now than really upset with me 6 months from now when the window of opportunity is closed. Next point. Oh, Ashley, did you have something you wanted to mention or no?
Yes, I actually just had a question and I didn't want to interrupt, but
Yeah, go for it.
you had mentioned marketing, and I had seen that obviously nowadays it seems like marketing has changed drastically from what it used to be in terms of like getting things in the paper. And I had heard Ed kind of mention that too. When you're talking to a client about what you'll do for them in order to get the listing and they ask you about marketing, do you talk about mostly like social media and then our like EXP marketing group, or what's like the best way to answer that question?
So I will tell you what I'll tell you what I did and it worked well for me. So I have never been anybody that was a marketer. I never spent any money in the Beach Reporter or Diggs. I never did these big campaigns. I never did postcards. I never did flyers. I never did any of that stuff. You know, mailers. I didn't spend money. That's because my coach told me, don't spend money, just price it right. So I share with them what I believe marketing to be. I share with them that marketing is making sure that the property gets to all the right people in a very efficient manner. That's marketing. It's delivering the information to the people that want to buy this house. And the best way I know to do that is to price it right, make it show its very, very best, and then expose it to the world in a really high-end way. So price it right is number 1. Number 2, make it show its best. I'll have my stager go in there. It's a few $100. She helps them with like a redesign of the house, taking all their stuff and making it look beautiful. Then we have obviously a professional photographer, photographs, video, and we make sure we write a really good description on the MLS. This is marketing, but I really try and explain to them the simplicity of what marketing is. I really try and explain to them that 90 some odd percent of the time, our listings get purchased by people that are represented by local agents. If it's not me or someone on my team, it's 99% of the time an agent in our marketplace. So for me, putting an ad in the Beach Reporter, putting an ad in the LA Times for a high-end property, to me, that's not effective marketing. But if I'm going to be marketing to my colleagues, to the agent community, that's the most effective marketing I can ever do. And I tell them we do that through networking. You can add in social media if that's something that you do, because that's a very inexpensive way to market. And then I also, if I need to, if they need more understanding, I'll use an example like this. So Ashley, let's say you wanted to purchase, you're an avid skier, you love to ski, and you want to purchase a house in Park City in Utah. Are you going to go to the LA Times to search for a ski house in Park City? What are you going to do realistically? You're going to get
I'm
on a
gonna
plane.
contact, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get on an airplane. You're going to go to Park City. You're going to go to an open house, or you're going to find a local Park City agent, and you're going to say, I want to buy a house here. You know the area. Find me a house that I love. So when people, especially for higher end properties, oh, I hear there's a lot of buyers coming from China. I hear there's a lot of buyers coming from the Middle East. How are you going to access those people? No need. If there's a buyer from China, they're going to speak with a local agent, maybe a Chinese agent that speaks their language, and they're going to say, I want to buy some property in the Los Angeles area. I want to buy something in Manhattan Beach, El Segundo, wherever. Help me find a property. So I really take a very simple approach and a very, again, to our previous point, brutally honest approach on what is going to work and what is not going to work. And let's put our time and our effort and our energy and our resources towards getting this property sold. Now, it also sets me up for price reductions if we need it, because I can go back and I can say, hey, remember we talked about the 3 things that create saleability in a property: price, showing condition, and marketing. Well, we already know the marketing has been on par. People have been coming to see the property. The whole community, the whole world, it's all over the internet. The world knows the property's for sale. We know the showing condition is fabulous. We had our stager go in. It did a redesign. It looks beautiful. The pictures are amazing. What does that leave us? It is price. It's only price. So let's determine a price that will cause it to sell. It's such a straightforward conversation. Not easy for a lot of agents to be that brutally honest. Because the seller might say, Ashley, what are you doing to sell the home? It's been 45 days, it's not selling. Right? I think you should put more ads in the paper. I think you should do more mailers. I think you should do more this and more that. Boy, you keep putting ads in the paper, all of a sudden, you're putting yourself out of business.
Right.
Right? Now, Ed Kaminsky, what he talked about when we had that discussion, he is really looking to grow his high-end business. And there is a certain perception in the public that when you do high-end, that there is a level of marketing and exposure and ad spend. So it worked for him, and it will work for you if you have the disposable resources, the money, the income to say, I'm going to devote this much money towards that, and it's a long game. I'm going to spend 5 years doing that and know that I'm creating a name to have more success in the future. But I would do that carefully. I just wouldn't want you to spend money unnecessarily, hoping to get a result and then not getting it. Because that'll be the first one to tell you, you do $1,000 ad in the paper, or you do a few pages, a few pages in the Beach Reporter, you spend, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. How many times does the phone ring from that? How many times has Ed sold a house directly off a Beach Reporter ad? He would probably tell you, never.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, that he
Yeah.
still does it, but it's not like you're getting calls from it.
Right. So you have to always, weigh really truly what you're trying to accomplish and if it's a smart business decision. Now, Ed will tell you also, let's go to him for a minute, because he's one of the greatest agents. This guy is productive. He did over 300 million in volume last year, about 160 or 65 or 70 sales, a lot of transactions. For the first multiple years in his career, what was he doing every day? He was on the phones. He was making 50 contacts per day, 50 conversations per day. As he was moving up and selling more and earning more, he was able to peel off a portion of that and start doing marketing, start doing advertising, really focusing on Manhattan Beach, building a brand within the community. And now he can afford to say, okay, but I don't know what he spends. Let's say I'm going to spend, you know, $20,000 a month on marketing, and it costs me $250,000 a year. And it's something that I can do because I know my people, my database expect that of me. And when somebody, you know, when he's taking a $17 million strand listing and he says, look, I do this kind of marketing every single week, you really need to list with me, he can back that up. And that $17 million listing that he took on the strand, he actually ended up double ending it. So that was cool. Good for him. Sometimes good things happen, right? But it was very much by design. And I think, you know, Ashley, if we're talking about, okay, should I just do what he does? Should I spend, and I don't take these numbers specifically, I don't know, but let's say not him or anybody. Should I spend $20,000 a month to see if that will, should I put the cart before the horse and hopefully that leads to business? No, don't do that. Do it in a very deliberate way. If that's something you want to get to, if you said, you know what, 5 years from now, I want to be selling, you know, strand listings. It's not that you can't do them now. You can prospect them for free right now, but have a plan where you're not putting yourself in financial distress. I'm going to just throw this money against the wall and see what sticks, see if it's going to find me deals. No, do the prospecting, do it for free, do the stuff that has worked for you. And then if you want to peel off a small portion of that and do some marketing, do that. It's not something I've ever done personally. And we've done plenty of $2, $3, $4, $5 million deals over the years. Didn't have to spend a lot of money marketing those. I just shared with the seller what I believe to be true. And
Thank you. That's
yeah,
really helpful. I really
great.
appreciate it.
Awesome. Next point. I have always helped, this is again from Sean. And every week we'll go through different agents. I have these wonderful relationships, and just by talking to these people, what is your blueprint for success? So these are things that we all do, right? So it's just great. Next point, I have always helped other agents, even competitors. When they've asked me for advice or help, I always give it. Why would I do that? Why would I help my competitor? That doesn't make sense. Well, anybody that got anywhere worth getting to has gotten help getting there from other people. People help people. That's how we have success. Listen, I got you make an offer. I won't get too specific, but let's say, you know, you make an offer on someone else's listing and you've been a good colleague of theirs over the years. They called you 3 months ago and said, you know, hey, Danny, I see you got, you know, 123 Main Street under contract. Can you share with me what you sold that for? Sure, Aaron, no problem. I just don't share it with the world, but we sold it for $1,259,000. Hopefully that helps. Great, man. Yeah, because I'm going on a listing appointment. Super helpful. Thank you so much. Danny just did me a favor, and I appreciate that. You know, it was respectful. Colleague to colleague, agent to agent. Then Danny writes an offer on my listing. Danny, how you doing, man? I've been waiting to do a deal with you. Do you think Danny has a better chance of getting that offer accepted? 100% of the time. So in this point, I've always helped other agents, even competitors, when they've asked for advice or help. I always give it. Give help to people. Let's help each other. I mean, I don't think I've ever been on a listing appointment directly against anybody on this call. Why wouldn't we help each other? So let's do more of this. That's what this call is all about. It's all about collaboration, truly. How can we help each other? The better you do, the better each one of us does, the better I do, the better we do together, the better the industry does. Like, this is just, it's good all the way around. Next point. In following a system of success, it all comes down to one thought: talk to a lot of people and know what to say. we kind of went into this before with regard to following scripts and knowing what to say. The slight wrinkle in this is about quality and quantity. So not only do you have to know what to say, but you have to talk to a lot of people. In many cases, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Sean last week did something incredible. So I don't want everyone to feel like this is only about prospecting, but since these guys are doing it, I like to highlight what they're doing because it's such an extraordinary commitment and it inspires me and it should inspire you. So Sean, why don't you unmute yourself? Tell everybody kind of what you did last week.
Yeah, so last week I door knocked for 5 hours a day at a minimum. Some days I went a little bit over because I was like, about to finish this block, might as well just do it. So if you want to hear some totals, actually, that came out.
Prospected 5 hours just one day?
No, every day. Monday,
Every day.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, that came out to 700 doors knocked, and that was almost 300 people that I talked to.
It's incredible, dude. And did he take any listings? Nope. You thought there was going to be an amazing, fireworks at the end of this story. He didn't take any listings from it. What he did, though, is he made a true commitment to just really taking it to the next level, to really upgrading his commitment to this craft, to this industry. And we were talking about it this morning, he's going through a major learning experience right now where he just had to like he was just every day last week, he was just exhausted. He just looked exhausted. It's like, hey, you doing okay, man? Just every day, he's just committed to crushing it. And really breakthrough comes from breakdown. I mean, he was breaking down his ego. It's like, listen, I don't even care anymore. He gets to this, he's like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then he said something really funny. He knocked on somebody's door. Share that really funny experience when you knocked on somebody's door.
Wait, which one? Because there was a couple last week. Oh yeah, I said, yeah, I'm busy too. I'm working here. And then I continued going through my questions.
Isn't that funny? So he knocks on somebody's door like, hey, I'm busy. He goes, hey, I'm busy too. And then he went to his questions. Sean is a very amiable guy. That is not something he ever. Ryan's giving you an ovation. Thank you, Ryan. So, and Chad. So Sean is such an amiable person. He would do anything for anyone at any time. And the way he was showing up is just like, he was just not really taking a stand. And he did so much door knocking that it almost beat out of him. I'm just going to talk to people. I'm over myself. I'm not going to worry about what they think about me. I'm not going to, he's a nice guy. He can't be rude if he tried. But that was like, to him, it was like, holy cow, I can't believe I said that. Like, where'd that even come from? That's major breakthrough happening. And it only happened because you made that commitment to say, I'm taking this thing to the next level. No matter what, 5 hours a day. Now, do we all do 5 hours a day? No. He has to do it because he wants to do it. It's coming out of him. And he wants it bad. He wants to really have success badly. How can you upgrade the way you talk to your past clients, your center of influence, your friends, your neighbors, your family? Call these people. You care about them. Ask them if they have any questions about the real estate market. Ask them how you can be a better resource for them. So the point is, Sean, Chad, and the few others on the call are on an absolute mission to improve their business, improve themselves, improve their scripts, improve their approach, improve the expectations that they have. Just a constant, never-ending improvement. So this group is also about supporting each other to get to the next level, whatever that level is. Whatever that level is. Because ultimately, even a little tiny step in the right direction, you add those all together over the course of a year, you've gone someplace. right? You've gone someplace, you've made something big happen. It doesn't happen just like that overnight, but you start stitching together these tiny little steps, a tiny little change. And all of a sudden you look back and you're like, wow, look what I've accomplished. Like things are really starting to change here. So very, very cool. Let's pause there and let's just open up the mics. Does anybody have, we'll just do quick 5 minutes Q&A if there's anything. Is there anybody that's going through a challenge, going through a frustration, having a loss of power anywhere in their business that they'd like to bring up to the group and we can resolve together as a group?
I have a quick question.
Go for it, Danny.
Well, first of all, Sean, that's amazing. 5 hours is no joke. I've been trying to do about 3 hours and it's killer. I'm keeping at it though. You're inspiring me for sure. I wanted to touch back on what David was talking about in the beginning of the call, just really quickly, because I've heard that saying, marry the house, date the rate a lot. And the only thing that's questionable to me about that, and it is, I feel like, I mean, the implication is that rates will go down ultimately. And I know rates fluctuate regularly, but, and this is just, I'm not being facetious, it's just out of my own ignorance. How, you know, is there actual concrete data to substantiate rates going down? Like David said, perhaps in 1 or 2 or 3 years, they'll be back down into the threes. Can we realistically foreshadow that? I feel.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Let's say they never go down.
Right.
Let's just make an assumption they will never, ever go down. Let's just make that assumption. Will they? Probably. But am I an economist? Are you the, you know,
No.
federal chairman of, you know, what's going on with rates? No. Let's assume they're never going to go down. Is it still an incredible time to buy real estate? I'll go back to what I said a month or two ago. Let's say you are the worst real estate investor of all time. Danny, your timing is terrible. You're just terrible. Back in 1989, you bought your first property. And then what happened the year after? The market crashed from 90 to 95 here in the South Bay. There was an exodus of aerospace. Everyone left. The prices tumbled. Oh man, I'm a knucklehead. I bought a house at the peak of the market in 1989 and it just went down. Well, I lived in that house and things were going good. And, you know, I just kept working. I kept the house. And then a number of years later, we come up to 2007 and I had a few extra bucks and mortgages were cheap. And I said, I'm going to buy a second house. I'm going to buy an investment property. So what did you do? You bought a second house in 2007. And then the next year, what happened? Prices tumbled 35%. They went down. Holy cow. Am I the worst investor of all time? I bought one at 1989 and then it crashed. And then I bought one in 2007 and it crashed. Well, I bought my primary residence and my investment property. Worst timing in history. God, I'm such an idiot. Now here we are in 2022. Well, I still have the house that I bought in 89 and I still have the house that I bought in 2007. So are they worth more or less than I bought them for? What do you think the answer is, Danny?
Definitely much more.
Yeah, like a little more or a lot more?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, like indistinguishably more. Like I couldn't imagine how much more when I bought these properties. Like millions of dollars in equity more. So anybody, that's such a simple story that I've actually told to people. I told to a good friend of mine who wanted to buy a house for, you know, in Riverside for his son. And I told Sean, I told him exactly that. And he's like, makes perfect sense. I'll just buy it. That's a good friend of mine. And he had an agent out there. It wasn't helping me. I was helping him as a friend. I believe that. Now, because I said to Sean this, I said, Sean, how many properties do you own? I think it was like 4 or 5. I go, have you ever lost money on any one of your purchases? He's like, no, good point. And I said, in fact, your net worth right now, primarily, is it because of the increase in equity in the real estate that you've purchased? He's like 100%. He's got millions of dollars in equity. I don't know what else to say. You read the news, you read the stuff on social media, the naysayers. I can't, you try and time the markets. That seems like a dangerous game to play. You buy something, assuming you don't have to sell it 6 months from now or a year from now, or who knows what's going to happen with the market, but over time, not only will you do just fine, you'll make a fortune. So
No, that's absolutely right. I appreciate that. That's a great answer. I guess my thing was just not, I don't want to give people the idea that I have some inside knowledge that, hey, no, the rates will go, give it a few years, they'll go back down. I don't want to ever imply something I'm not sure of.
you don't have to. And I don't say it in that way. I say, listen, based on a lot of what people and a lot of very smart people that I talk to, and advice that I take from these people, there seems to be a consensus that the rates will dip down and there will be an opportunity to refi. They will, they won't, who knows? So don't use that as one of your variables then. If I'm talking to a client, oh, how do you know they're going to go down? I don't know they're going to go down. I believe they will, but let's just take that variable off the table right now. Can you afford to buy the house right now? Does it make sense to buy the house right now? Listen, if they're renting, check this out. Danny, let's say they're renting a property. Rates are so high, I can't afford, I missed the boat. Guess what your rate is when you're renting? 100%. When you rent, you're paying 100% because you're paying 100% of the seller's mortgage, of the owner's mortgage. So when you're renting, whether the rate is 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, as long as you can afford it, to me, my mind is very simple. It seems to always make sense. I try not to focus too much on the rate because I've just seen too many people make too much money, not too much, just the right amount, by owning real estate. It's a wonderful thing to see people, to see clients build wealth, build net worth because of the real estate you sold them. What a source of pride that is. How cool is that to be a part of that? So I would just share that authentically with your clients. Ask Dave about stories of homes that he has sold to clients and how that has changed their lives, and share that. And you can share it honestly and authentically. We're not trying to ask people to do something that we wouldn't ourselves do, that we don't truly believe in. We're not lying to them. We're being honest. I believe if everybody could buy more real estate as much as they can, their life will be better years from now. Like way better. So that's my belief. Before we wrap up, anybody else that wants to chime in or has any questions, concerns, challenges that they're facing, anything at all? Cool. Great, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for your participation. I love seeing you all every week. We will be here at the same time next week, continuing on some of these great points to grow your business. Have a great week, everyone. Take good care.
Thank you.
Thanks.